Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Max behind the glass. Why are you looking at me this way?
Because I don't know if we can really call ourselves the Geek Patrol when there's only half of us here.
Yeah, well, there's 3/5, and Max is off mic, so
Max doesn't count as so much as the Geek Patrol. He's like our Charlie. We're the Angels, you know?
Okay, all right. And we're, okay. Brandon's already throwing a curve in there, but anyway... Alan's off site, and so is Alyssa.
Alyssa can't stay in town to save her life. I'm sorry, it's true.
Anyway, hey, but we got and you know what? We're going to take advantage of that fact.
Absolutely.
Because, let's face it, when it comes to talking comic books, it's you and I are
right.
It's more of something we're interested in.
Alan rolls his eyes at us, and Allie she's a millennial. She doesn't read.
Alyssa doesn't even know what a comic book is, or how much to pay for it, or whatever.
Or where to get it.
Yeah. So anyway, with that in mind, we've got it's going to be really good. We got our buddy Donnie Juengling, and I always mispronounce your last name.
That's okay.
How do you say it?
Juengling.
Juengling. I always want to say you. I make it more sophisticated.
Everyone does, yeah.
That's because they want to name him after the beer.
Founder of the Memphis Comic Expo, celebrating. It's the 10-year anniversary this year, right?
10 years, but our 9th show. So.
Right. Because we remember 2014. I mean, gosh, and I mean, you guys are going strong. Huge guest list. This is the biggest. Well, you can tell everybody this is.
Yeah, it's definitely our biggest guest list we've ever had. We have our focus is on comic book creators. We've got Frank Cho with us this year, Mark Bagley. Those are some of the bigger ones. Mitch Gerards. We have a huge list of comic creators. It is the biggest in about 5 states of any actual comic convention. And this year we're loading out with voice actors. I think we have 12 or 13 maybe voice actors, and they're much bigger class of, apologies to our previous guests. They're sort of like in a different weight class, I guess you would say. We have Najee Jeter is the voice of Miles Morales on the Spider-Man video games. He's also Sam in the Last of Us video game. I'm sure he has a ton of other credits, but we have Gray Delisle is known best as Daphne on Scooby-Doo. She's also Azula on Avatar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody knows Gray Delisle, and I thought she played Catwoman, but
yeah, she did. She's got a ton of credits.
So we're gonna dive into that. Donnie, we're going to talk about the Memphis Comic Expo in your 10th year a little later in the show. But with that in mind, we have one of your guests, actually one of your comic guests.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, one of ours as well. Actually, our comic guest. It's weird to say that for an MCFC. We have a comic guest. It doesn't happen often enough, in my personal opinion. But again, we like to work in cahoots with all the other conventions around town, and if we did get any other comic guests, we'd have to ask for Donnie's permission first.
No.
Oh no, we would. We totally would, dude.
See, unlike some events in town, we cooperate with fellow organizers, so we don't like to step on.
Donnie, you've always
toes,
treated us well. We would do that for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You guys are good. So.
Anyway, Matt Bowers.
Hey
Matt, you brought in some of your comic books, man. It's cool, and so let me make sure I got it. They're just called Memphis.
Yeah, the book is called Memphis, and it's my take on if there were superheroes in Memphis.
Yeah.
And
I like that premise, man.
I've got a lot of I'm sorry, I'm a little thrown off. I'm not used to being in the studio.
It's all good.
But yeah, so it's sort of my take on superheroes, which is not your usual what you would usually see in a comic book.
Tell him about China.
China Monroe is like probably the main character, and she's a bounty hunter / private detective with electrical powers, but she'd rather just punch you in the face than shock you. Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of work for her here in Memphis.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. And then there's so the book, it's not an anthology, but there's a lot of different ongoing storylines that they all take place in Memphis, but they don't all interconnect. So then the other thing is that there's an all-girl group called the Power Angels.
Yeah.
And yes, they hate that name too.
Okay.
But they were put together by a guy named Mr. Jones. He's like one of the richest men on the planet, and he has a TV show called Battle Quiz.
Nice.
And he puts them together because he wants an all-girl group that he can merchandise through the roof.
I mean, it sounds like a pretty straightforward premise, but it's kind of a nice hook. I mean, you must get because I'm thinking you could get invited to other other events around town that have nothing maybe to do with comics or anything. But I'm sitting here looking at this. There's a fight scene here right in front of the Memphis College of Art.
Right.
Now, do you get into copyright issues with stuff? Like, do you got to get permission for
at
these
this
things?
point, I'm so small. I mean, I don't think anybody's noticed.
Maybe
But I mean, you're talking.
They might know it now.
Maybe we
mean,
ought to
like-
mute his mic on this part. Okay.
Well,
But I like to put in
they went out of
real
business.
locations, around town. That's one of the fun parts of the book. Like I go around and scout out locations, and like in issue 3, a lot of it takes place in the neighborhood near Crosstown.
Okay.
And me and my wife actually went to Crosstown and I took a ton of pictures and I sort of choreographed where it was going to start, where it was going to end.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of real scenes.
So
in that book.
so you've got that meta edge because of being able to actually go into these places, scout them out, and then go, all right, I want this to happen here,
Right.
And then you go and you put pen to paper and you bring it to life.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but I like doing it. And
So I have a question for you then.
yes,
Wouldn't it be kind of awesome, if one of the conventions, it doesn't matter
I
which
was
one.
waiting for the
It
shameless
doesn't matter which one of us.
plugs.
Put together kind of a almost a contest where people in cosplay could go, take photos that reenact a scene from your comic.
Oh, that would be
As
cool.
we do like a scavenger hunt.
that would be cool.
I nominate MCFC.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
look. I'm totally down for it.
I'm actually going to be a guest there too. So
We can
too lazy.
set something up. It's a little late. It's a little late in the year for this one, but if we could do it maybe for next year, and then whoever completes the scavenger list first, free passes to the con.
Oh, we can do better than that.
Oh, I know
That's
we can do better than that, but that's the one thing
some
I'm
bubble
allowed
gum.
to give away.
Oh, okay.
right.
Anything else, I have to check with your checkbook first.
Hey, Matt, Donnie, now coming up, we're 2 weeks away from the Comic Expo. There's going to be people
Yes.
from out of town. Would this be a good introduction to them? Like, would this give them a sense of what's going on in Memphis?
No,
Or maybe not the best
This
things
gives
going
you an idea what's going on in my head. So this is definitely my take on Memphis. Like it's not. Yeah, it's not.
All right. Well,
But it's fun. So
We're gonna dive deeper into Matt's head when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
Sweet.
There's a reason blue milk has an expiration date, people. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead and Max over there behind the glass, and sitting in, taking the seats of Alyssa Diggs and Alan Gilbreth is our buddy Donnie Juengling. I'm just going to say Donnie from
Yeah, just say Donnie.
because my mind keeps wanting me to say
Everybody
you.
in Memphis knows who Donnie is.
Jay.
It's Donnie from the Memphis Comic Expo, celebrating their 10th year. It's coming up. We're going to dive deep into what you can expect there.
10
it's a
years,
pretty
9
big
shows.
experience. And somebody who's going to be a guest at both of these, comic book writer and artist, right?
Yes.
Matt Bauer's, the creator of Memphis.
Yes.
Okay, go. Yeah, that needs some explanation.
Wow,
but, so it's your fault?
That's all your fault.
No, don't blame me. Originally, my book was called Strange Behavior, but at some point, my wife went, you might want to change that. It can give the wrong impression of what your book is.
Yeah, that you're going to limit your audience on that one.
Yeah. So I think when I was originally coming up with the idea of the book, Memphis was one of my ideas, and I just went back to that. And because one of the common things in the book, with all the different characters coming and going and telling their stories, is Memphis in the background. So
Yeah. I will say this. I'm always a big fan. Well, Brandon, you know my philosophy about posters and promotion. I'm a big fan of when you walk by something, you're like, oh, you can
know
read
what it is.
You get a sense. You want to look at it. And I will say your covers, man, you really create some eye-catching covers. So.
thank you.
The interiors are pretty good too, but
Right,
Well,
but
thank
you
you.
got to get them to pick up the book.
You
so.
do. It's
I mean,
a whole art to itself.
Donnie, you are a veteran comic book shop owner, manager, so this book looks like it would get some attention on the shelves. I think so.
For sure.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, stifle your enthusiasm.
Hey, we're a laid back show here. You can't expect too much.
How long did this take you to put together? It's completed?
No, it's an ongoing book. So this, I'm working on number 4 right now. I have a special issue that is oversized and in color that is ready to be printed. Just had some financial hiccups recently,
Well, you're
And
a
no fault
writer
of
and
my
an
own.
artist. That's your life, man. Sorry,
Well,
I got news.
I'm just
I was
saying
gonna-
promises were made and promises were broken, but we were moving forward, and I'll figure it out. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's an ongoing book. I've got the first 50 issues plotted out. So yeah, I just came up with a new book called The Atomic Bomb Society that is totally separate. So like, yeah, sometimes I can't turn the brain off, but that's
I always
fine.
wondered
It's
about
all right.
that. Like, you get ideas and you don't want to just lose them, so
No.
you got to
I'll
focus
sketch it
on them
out,
a little
I'll,
bit.
I'll
But
jot it down and come back to it later. You know.
yeah, a creative mind, that's hard. I mean,
Yeah,
you got to
me-
focus.
Me and Wayne Camp, the man in charge of the Grind City Movie Madness, Combat League stuff. We have a word. It's like when we've got an idea that's in our head, we will yell "pwang," and the two of us will basically stop until it gets fleshed out, and then the idea is real, and then we ignore it for 10 years.
Right.
So,
What
but,
if
but
somebody-
that's how Debate of the Dead came about. I mean, that led to me being a published author and making way too much money out of a tip jar.
Now, does anybody ever abuse the pwang system? Like, what if they pwang and it's like a really stupid idea?
Then you can
and
throw
just
things at them.
disrupted the whole.
You
okay.
can literally throw things at them.
So it has to be a serious
It has to- yeah.
endeavor. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know, man. What do you have another job besides comic book
Yeah,
writing?
unfortunately.
Okay.
I'm trying to remedy that too, but so far I've got a day job.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of the way it is as an
Yes,
artist,
it
right?
is,
So-
unfortunately. But that's
Yeah.
fine. I love it. I love doing it, so I just do it in my free time. And my wife helps me with the final dialogue with each
That's
issue.
a smart man.
Well, I get a lot of female characters, and she used to constantly say, "A girl would never say that." And so after a bunch of times me going, "Well, then tell me what she would say," she finally did, and so
Yeah.
she does that now. With when I get to the book where it's like I can print it out,
Yeah.
give her the copies, she goes through it, makes notes. And
Do you
then,
do you have thick skin? Because you know how like
do
Hemingway
at
said
this
you have to be
point.
able to murder your darlings.
Right.
and-
I mean, we've been together 15 years. We met in 6th grade. So at this
Wow.
this
Holy
point,
smokes.
yeah, this
Well,
point, I've
met
got
in the womb.
yeah, I can. Her name's Kristen, by the way, and I love her so much.
Shout out to
Yeah,
her.
She's amazing.
And on top of that, you've hung out in comic shops. You kind of have to have thick skin to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the comic book arguments on comic book day are pretty funny, but used to do that at the cellar. too.
That point where you realize that apparently you are the worst person in the world just because you didn't like the way a character handled one thing. I
Right,
never knew
right.
that could happen until I hung out in comic shops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I try not to get involved.
I bet you don't. You've witnessed.
I'm gonna say I have been in comics and collectibles, just walking through aisles while people are arguing, and you are over there
Yeah.
just like
Oh, yeah.
it's obvious you have an opinion, but you're not getting involved.
No eye contact.
Yeah,
You can flesh Donnie out if you use the right trigger words. I've noticed. I feel like sports, you're more likely to give your opinion about
Yeah,
certain
sure.
sports owners
Well,
and
I mean,
people like that. And
I have been doing that job for almost 40 years now. So,
Wow.
I'm just really inundated with comics and superheroes, and
you've seen it all.
I have.
What's your favorite era? Because mine, Brandon. It's not even close. Late '80s, early
I'd say
'90s. is my
80s.
favorite.
I mean,
Yeah.
all the masterpieces that keep getting recycled. Watchmen, Dark Knight, Miracle Man. There were so many cool things back then. Love and Rockets. There was a
Yes,
really
the
nice
Rockets.
indie scene with a lot of cool stuff going on. I was the right age for it too. I was a teenager, so that played a lot into it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true. You're more interested, but there was just something about that era, man.
But I'm gonna throw this out to both of you. I know we're coming up on a hard break here, but when we come back, I'd like to know, because I want to give you a minute to think about it. I would like to know what property out there that if you could have, you would have basically killed to work on.
Oh, interesting. So
I haven't gotten to ask this question since we
Am
were
I
in our
answering now
original
or when we
studio.
come back?
When we come back, think about it for a minute.
No, I
Actually,
have
knowing
it
you already have.
already
Well, let's
have
go
it.
ahead and get yours now then.
go ahead. We got time.
I always thought a movie I loved when I was a kid, and it hasn't aged well, but I would say Logan's Run would be something I would love to reimagine.
Huh. I can't say I ever saw it. If I did, I don't remember.
Really?
So. All right. So they're going to chastise me when I'm off the air.
Well,
No, it was the dude that, Michael, what's his name with the British accent?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
Okay.
Michael
I saw-
York.
Michael York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farrah Fawcett.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in it briefly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a out of left field one. So, all right, when we come back, we'll find out what Matt would do, and we're also going to learn all about what's coming up with the Memphis Comic Expo.
The Geek Patrol is back.
Well done. Here come the test results. You are a horrible person. That's what it says. A horrible person. We weren't even testing for that.
Pretty good lab work there, Brandon. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Max over there behind the glass. And sitting in for Alyssa Diggs and Alan Gilbreth is our friends Donnie from the Memphis Comic Expo. I'm not saying his last name anymore because I have a mental mental block. And Matt Bowers, with a much easier to say name. And I should say, our buddy Eric sitting off in the background. You don't want to come on,
Yeah.
All right,
I haven't answered to your question.
Okay, so you haven't answered to our question.
Hold on, we got to, there may be new listeners tuning in, man.
All right.
So, live radio.
Catch folks up.
Matt, of course, is a comic book creator. He's the writer and artist for Memphis. Boom, drop the mic. That's a pretty straightforward name, but it's basically the premise is what would happen if we had superheroes and I assume supervillains in Memphis.
Yes.
We don't have that now.
If we had actual superheroes in Memphis, Black Lodge would still exist.
Okay, so we all right. Anyway, they had terrible parking there.
They had terrible parking, but I'm going to miss doing Star Trek Day there.
Okay. Anyway, but so before the break,
right,
Brandon, you threw a question out, and Donnie surprised me with his answer of Logan's Run, but
I don't. It's an amazing answer, and at this point, I kind of
trying to sound like an elitist.
Well, at this point, no,
like he's sophisticated.
It was a really popular movie.
Because first of all, an elitist would never call out an elite film and go, "I'd like to reimagine that."
That's true.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, it could be improved.
Well, anything can, but that's not something a film snob would do. I would actually love to hear his take on it, but we don't get enough time in the day on Geek Tank. But I'll have to hit him up sometime after his stress levels go down after the expo.
Okay,
that's where it stops.
So Matt, what would you? What's the property out there you would love to get your hands on?
Mine's a little bit weirder, I think. My favorite band is Duran Duran.
Really? I love Duran Duran.
Awesome.
Nice.
So they did a video called The Wild Boys, Wild Boys.
Oh, dude.
I would love to do a Wild Boy graphic novel.
That would be
funny.
amazing.
100%, with the band's approval and that whole thing. So
that's one of my favorite bands. That's one of my least favorite songs of theirs, though.
But I mean, when you watch the video, the characters that each band member embodies,
right?
That would. It's like the worst. It's either the worst image superhero or it's the greatest street gang.
Right. Well, and I think the video hints at a lot of things that. How did John Taylor get strapped to a car and and I would like to flesh that out and figure it out, and tie it into Barbarella, which is where they got their name.
I never say this, but I like this idea.
Yeah.
Right? Well, at least you guys are thinking outside the box. So,
cool. I think it'd be really cool.
Well, I mean, Joe, what would you do? Batman? You do Batman.
We'll do something next week. I don't care about that. What I care about at the moment. So, we got business to take care of, Brandon.
Well, it's true.
We got Donnie in the house, and Matt, you're going to be a guest, and and we've been there since the beginning. We've been to every single Memphis Comic Expo, and this is the 10-year anniversary, the 9th show because of COVID.
Correct.
COVID messed it up. So, Donnie, how you feeling 2 weeks out? I don't even have to ask. I already know.
He's vibrating, Joe.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to redlining. It's very stressful. You know this, running a convention. We have so many guests, so many hotel rooms to book, confirmation numbers, flights. It is a lot of work. We're blessed the last few years to have some really good help that we don't have anymore. So it's definitely been.
So you're doing it all.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that. My wife has unwillingly become a part of the team. She always has been, but she's doing more than she would like. So.
You sound very calm, but
it's a facade.
Inside, it's a seed.
A raging inferno inside.
I don't know. People, sometimes you've seen this, Brandon.
Yeah.
People are like, they walk up to you and they're like, "This looks so fun. I would like to create my own event." And if you really like the person, you go, "Okay, well, let me tell you all the reasons."
Don't do it.
Yeah, not to. People will never understand how much work this is.
I don't know, and I apologize to everyone out there who may have gotten this positive outlook from me when they've talked about doing a convention. I don't know if I've ever liked anybody not to enjoy the Schadenfreude when they do their own convention. I'll be honest, when you know that you can kind of feel someone out when you know they're dedicated to it.
Yeah.
But there's so many people who come in who just want to be on staff and then you go, all right, sure, yeah, come on.
Just to say that they're on staff.
Well, right, but then you go, just come in, come in, volunteer. And when they realize what they have to do with volunteering, you don't see them for like 3 years.
Yeah, right. Sounds familiar.
But yeah.
It's hard, but I mean, let's face it, you need good volunteers and everything.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do it without them.
But one thing that's cool about Memphis, like I said, is generally speaking, all of the conventions and all of the Comic Expo and everything, we all cooperate for one thing. Now, this year, you were stuck with dates. I mean, you're a little further in the year. I think usually you're September.
We're usually September, and we're in October this year. There's some larger shows that would get all our guests that has moved around on the calendar, and they're even doing it again next year. So you're just trying to figure it out as you go. So.
Well, Donnie, you said so, and one of the reasons I guess you have so much on your plate this year is this is the biggest guest list you've ever had. I mean, people, if you were all about meeting comic book creators and voice actors, and even one of your guests was on the Penguin the other night. I was stunned.
I'm blanking his name.
We'll check off the air, but you've got a lot of people. I mean, if you want to meet celebrities.
Well, that guy was actually on Lost. He was the Asian doctor on like when they were watching in the did you ever watch Lost?
Yeah, we're terrible at doing research before we do this. I was just sitting there trying to remember his name because I just saw it. But
this is the problem with trying to do an organic show is that you can get the conversation, but it's always that guy who's in that thing who did that
Chow.
stuff.
He's on The Expanse. He's on The Tick. He was Quick Kick on G.I. Joe.
There we go.
He has been a lot of.
That's a good
hey, he was not only was he.
I think he's in the new Netflix Avatar thing.
Ooh,
he's all over the place. He's like a real actor.
That's what's interesting about guests, and they always have. It's not just one thing. They do. You go. Oh, you were the dude that did this, or you were
it's not to divert from the Comic Expo, but I mean Brandon Potter. You when you first brought the idea of bringing him to MCFC.
Yeah.
You talk about the shows and everything, and then I find out he's Redhead Shanks in One Piece. I was like, oh, we're gonna.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting, inundated with all sorts of comments about him.
Yeah. Well, Brandon's very good at the shameless plugs, and believe me, when you come back, we're going to be loaded with shameless plugs.
I don't know anything about that.
Here on Geek Tank Radio.
The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and our buddy Max over there behind the glass, and sitting in for the vacationing, or let's just say absent, Alyssa Diggs and Alan Gilbreth. We've got our buddy Donnie from the Memphis Comic Expo, and Matt Bauer, who's a local comic book creator of Memphis, basically. A pretty straightforward premise. Superheroes. Yes. If there were superheroes and super villains in Memphis, and you're going to be at the Memphis Comic Expo coming up October 26th and 27th.
Artist Alley. I'll be in Artist Alley at A93.
Okay, and Donnie, we've failed to mention something hugely important about the expo this year.
This year we are moving locations. We have typically been at the Agri Center, but this year we are moving to the Renaissance Convention Center, the updated old Cook Convention Center. It's just straight downtown. We hope people come out. It's a really nice venue.
Oh, it's since the renovation, I would say the beautifully renovated.
Yeah,
I love it
really
there.
Nice.
It's very nice. So, carpet.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, so,
that's not always a good thing.
But Donnie, I always find it difficult to explain something to people. I always find it difficult to explain an expo or a convention to somebody that's never been to one.
Mm-hmm.
What's your elevator pitch?
People try to explain this to me and when I have one.
Yeah.
But really, I was just trying to get away from that Comic-Con thing because when I started, San Diego Comic-Con was talking about suing anyone using Comic-Con. So I just deliberately avoided that. And then I just thought the X and Expo was much more memorable if I were, coming up with
MCX.
Yeah, exactly. MCX.
Yeah.
We just thought it was a nice little abbreviation. So
Yeah, but how do you explain the experience? Because we want people to show up. I mean, it is
a comic convention at its core. There's, we're not sticking to, that's just our name. We have a ton of comic creators. We have a huge artist alley, definitely the largest in the region. Definitely the largest comic creator featured guests in the region. We got a lot of voice actors, the most we've ever had. There's a cosplay contest. We have some free gaming. The people at Board to Beers, and I'm blanking. I think it's Level Up, but there's going to be a new barcade downtown that's going to bring some arcades systems and.
Oh, that's fun.
That's
so
cool.
we'll have some free games for everyone to play. The cosplay contest is at 2:00. We are essentially Halloween weekend on the 26th and 27th. So we hope everybody's going to bring the kids out. It's anywhere from free to very affordable for the youngsters. And then prices vary depending on the day or if you get the whole weekend package. But all that information is available at memphiscomicexpo.com. We sure hope that Memphians turn out to support. We have a really, as far as comic creators, a national level guest list. So it's right here in Memphis, but you guys got to get out and support it for us to keep doing it.
Who are some of the names? Because I'm looking forward to meeting. Was it James O'Barr, the creator?
James
of The
O'Barr,
Crow?
creator of The Crow, is going to be there.
That's huge. The Crow is massive. Even 30 years later.
Yeah,
it's a
we
big
have
deal.
Larry Hama, who is known for G.I. Joe. He's written almost every single issue. He's still writing it. He was writing it in the 80s for Marvel. He's continued throughout up to this new Image Comics version that's doing really well. He's done a lot of other stuff too, but that is his real claim to fame. And I think way back in the day, he was also on an episode or two of MASH.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then besides that, we've got Mark Bagley, who has done a huge run of Spider-Man. He did a lot of Ultimate Spider-Man with Bendis. He probably has done a couple of 1,000 issues, and a lot of those are Spider-Man comics. We got Mitch Gerards. We have, like I said, a huge amount of comic creators, and this year we've got the best guest list of voice actors we've ever had. Gray Delisle, Johnny Young Bosch, Najee Jeter, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, Kara Edwards, just to name a few. David Kay. There's a bunch of them, more than I can just remember off the top of my head. But we hope people show up and support an event like this in Memphis. So.
Well, these are world-class artists too, and Donnie, I've talked to you about this before. What is it? What is the pricing for kids again? Because at certain ages, they're free.
Right. 5 and below is free, and then 6 to 12 is like $5.
So
it's
bring
just a nominal charge.
It may as well be free. And folks, if you're new, if you're even on the fence about this is what I would say. If you're one of those people that you want to be the hero at Christmas because you gave that one-of-a-kind gift or a birthday gift, you're going to meet world-class artists, like world-class comic book artists, and you can get a custom commission from
a lot
it.
of them do sketches. You can buy an original page of comic art from anything from Spider-Man, Superman, whatever. We have a huge amount of guests, and then in the artist alley are so many talented people like Matt here, and it's not just comics. Some of it is just sort of geek related. Some people might make T-shirts. Some people, it's just all kinds of crafts and arts. It's a huge event that really supports the arts. It's a niche, but there's not too many events in Memphis that have this many artists at it.
I'll tell you this, if you're interested in getting your kids interested in the arts, this is the gateway. I mean, say what you want, comic book art, that's serious
Kids
art.
that read
literature.
comics have higher vocabulary they have tested.
Oh, absolutely. Give us the info one more time, Donnie. So how do they get involved?
We are Memphis Comic Expo, and we're going to be October 26th and 27th, and we are downtown at the Renaissance Convention Center. It's a lot of family fun. We hope people come and stay the day or even the whole weekend, and just come on out and support us.
You'll be on the second floor, which is my favorite floor.
Yeah,
That's
we're
where
on
all
the
the
second
action
floor.
is.
It is on carpet this year. It's overlooking the river. It's such a nice facility. We're happy to be there.
Yeah.
We think.
I'm happy to have you there too because it's like it's a nice venue, and I think
it really is.
I think think the way it's going to be set up too is going to be more. It's going to feel more like a party because everybody's a little tighter, a little closer together, which is good. So, all right. Well, we're looking forward to it, Donnie.
Good.
Try to get some sleep, man.
Yeah, I'll
between
try.
now and then.
That's not going to happen.
It won't happen, but I'll try.
We feel your pain, but and of course, real quick, the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention is coming up November 23rd through 24th. You'll be hearing about that every week.
Every week.
We don't want to
ad nauseum. But we will also be at the Memphis Comic
come talk
Expo.
to these guys at the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll
if
probably
you
have some ticket
if you
deals.
get your kids to come down and say trick or treat, there will be candy at our booth.
All right, we got to go.
good
We're out of
idea.
time. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Donnie Juengling.
I'm Matt.
And I am Brandon Olmstead, flubbing my my stinger because Matt screwed me over.
Sorry.